service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News brought to you by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 area companies with business solutions since 1984. Two lines of strong thunderstorms with heavy lightning swept across the Lake Ontario region at rush hour this morning, causing lights to flicker in Greece. More sustained outages to the eastern side of the area. Rochester Gas and Electric said it had more than 3,100 outage reports from Monroe County as the storms passed. The bulk were in Webster and a few hundred scattered around Gates and Penfield. Other outages in Wayne and Cayuga counties raised the total to more than 3,700 power failures. The line of storms ran roughly parallel to the Lake Ontario shore and crossed the area in a southeasterly direction. Behind them, a warm front has brought a temporary surge of hot, muggy air into western New York and the Finger Lakes. Rochester will flirt with record-high temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday, probably missing by a couple of degrees. Check your AccuWeather forecast there on the top of your CNC News page. A large majority of Rochester employers plan to offer raises in 2014, according to a survey released Tuesday by the Rochester Business Alliance. The annual survey got responses from 149 companies and organizations, ranging from the University of Rochester to small businesses. It found 89% of those businesses have budgeted for employee raises. That's basically unchanged from 88% last year. Only 3% expect they'll have to cut or freeze pay. Local employers are budgeting for pay raises of about 3% next year, the same as this year, and the same as national trends. Manufacturers are doing slightly better, but only by a fraction of a percent. 3 men were shot Monday in 3 separate incidents in the city of Rochester. One man seriously injured, the others are less serious. The most recent incident happened about 10:30 p.m. near St. Paul and Hart Streets. Rochester police say the victim was a 24-year-old man who was shot in the upper body in a park. He was up and walking when they arrived. He was operated on at Strong Memorial Hospital, but his injuries are non-life-threatening. The second incident was the most serious. Police said a 33-year-old man was found shot and wounded on Fillmore Street in Rochester shortly before 5 p.m. He had been shot in the side and was taken to Strong with serious injuries. Police haven't said much about this yet, except that they now believe he was shot elsewhere and then brought to Fillmore Street. And in the first incident, police were called to the area of Genesee and Cottage Streets Monday afternoon for a report of a person shot. There they found a 19-year-old man shot in the lower extremities. He was taken to Strong with non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with information on any of these incidents is asked to call 911. It's primary election day in New York State. Polls open from noon till 9 p.m. Tuesday. The major race to be decided is the one between Democrats Tom Richards and Lovely Warren to see who gets the Democratic nod to run for mayor of Rochester. Richards, the incumbent mayor, has a strong lead in polling. More than 70 candidates in the fall elections have signed the Fair Campaign Practices Pledge from the Rochester Metropolitan League of Women Voters. The league says signers range from Monroe County Sheriff Patrick O'Flynn, who was first to put his name on this year, to Wheatland Town Board candidate Edward Sherrow. The Fair Election Pledge began in Rochester in the 1970s as a way to encourage civil discourse. Candidates agree to focus on issues, not personalities. The city of Rochester says it's fixed a water pressure problem that has troubled the southwest quadrant for decades. That part of Rochester has historically had lower water pressures than the rest of the city. It's the highest elevation in Rochester and the furthest from the reservoirs. Engineers have been proposing one fix or another since 1944, but none has ever been built. This year, city engineers began running simulations with computer models, and using those, they figured out a way to boost the pressure in the southwest without dropping pressure and causing firefighting issues in other neighborhoods. The southwest water pressure is now 38 psi instead of an anemic 26, which was well below the state recommended minimum. A Rochester City Council committee will discuss putting together a $3.6 million package to get the next phase of the Midtown Rising project going. That's rebuilding the underground Midtown parking garage. And city council committees are going to be looking at that this week. It goes before the full council for approval next week. The garage rebuild includes a new building at Atlas and Euclid Streets downtown that will serve as a public entrance to the garage. And the city is also getting ready to put the Port of Rochester Marina project in Charlotte up for bonding. This is the $20 million project to dig out the former ferry terminal parking lots and create a new marina for both resident and visiting boaters. Surrounding it will be a residential and commercial area and a public square. The project was first proposed a decade or more ago, and hopefully it'll look something like this in Erie, Pennsylvania. Funding is coming from the state, plus about $8.4 million in bonding to get the work started. Construction on this first phase is expected to start this fall and be done in about 2 years. To the left of the player window, you'll find links to these and other stories. At the bottom of the page, links you can use to post news and happenings directly to us. Next podcast is As It Happens. Updates are as necessary, and I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.